It's my honor to welcome you here today. It's an exciting and incredible day. For the 62 years that Beaumont Hospital at Royal Oak has been providing extraordinary care to patients and serving our families, communities, and our region. It's also an honor to share with you today a very, very important announcement. My name is Rosanna Morris. I'm the president here at Beaumont Royal Oak. And what we would like to share with you today is we are announcing the opening of our Proton Therapy Center, and that we have treated the very first patient to receive this sophisticated, unique, and highly effective therapy for patients suffering with cancer. His treatment, that you will meet the individual today, began on June 28th. He is doing quite well. He's a lovely, lovely person, and you'll have an opportunity to see him and visit with him as the program moves forward. First, you'll hear remarks from Beaumont Health's CEO and President, John Fox, who will help share our multi-year journey to bring this proton therapy, the first in the state of Michigan. You'll also hear from Oakland County Executive Brooks Patterson, who's been a staunch advocate for bringing proton therapy to our state and even helped to bring our first patient. And Dr. Craig Stevens, chairman of Radiation Oncology, who will explain how proton therapy works, its benefits for its patients, and recognize those who have partnered with us in this project. All our speakers and our first patient will be available for interviews at the conclusion of our program. You will also have the opportunity to tour our Proton Center. Thank you so much for being here on this important day for all of us. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you John Fox, President and CEO of Beaumont Health. John.
Thank you, Rosanna, and good morning, everybody. Again, we can't thank you all enough for all being here this morning. We're very excited to bring this next generation of radiation therapy technology here to Michigan. On June 28th, we joined an elite group of cancer centers around the country, and also being the first one here in Michigan. This is one of 25 that we have currently operating in the United States. Importantly, Michigan residents will no longer have to wait or travel for this therapy, but it'll be much more available closer to home. Also importantly, this is the latest technology package, if you will, for this therapy that our clinicians will talk to you about later, and it's right here in Southeast Michigan. Conversely, what's going to be happening is we will be having residents from other states come to Southeast Michigan for this unique and extraordinary therapy. Beaumont's Proton Center has been a long time in the making. There have been a lot of delays and challenges along the way, but we never gave up in our efforts to bring this life-saving treatment here for the patients and families we serve. And today you're standing in the center you're standing in offers, again, the most advanced proton therapy technology available in the world today. Not only is our proton therapy more precise and powerful, it is a more compact technology package. This allowed us to build a single-room center, again, with a compact cyclotron at 1/4 the cost of most of the other 25 in the country. So it's the latest technology at a lower cost, which is something we're very proud of. You'll hear more about this advanced program and technology from Dr. Craig Stevens in a few minutes. As we work to bring proton therapy to Michigan, we were gratefully aided by many supporters in the legislature, local and state government, and the business community. A number of them are here today that we'd like to recognize, some of whom you'll be hearing from in a minute. First among the group is Oakland County Executive L. Brooks Patterson, has been a staunch supporter of bringing proton therapy to Oakland County from the very beginning. He will be addressing you in a minute. Also, we'd like to thank and acknowledge Jim Ellison, former Royal Oak mayor, now state representative, was another key supporter. Jim, if you could raise your hand and be acknowledged. Thank you again. We'd also like to thank Ray Dubin, a proton therapy advocate. He used his influence with Michigan Governor Jennifer Granholm in explaining the benefits of this therapy. And Ray, could you raise your hand? We'd like to thank you for all your efforts. Also, Jonathan Steinberg, a Birmingham resident who had proton therapy 34 years ago at Harvard, one of the earliest machines, and also advocated for us. He serves as living proof of the effectiveness of proton treatment. Jonathan, if you're here, could you please raise your hand? Thank you very much. And the Crawley family from Farmington Hills also advocated for proton in Michigan. In 2005, they traveled to Indiana for proton treatment for their then 3-year-old daughter, Kelly. We're especially grateful to Linda and Jim Crawley for their support in this effort. We'd like to thank many others and all of you for your support. Along with benefiting our local cancer patients and their families, Beaumont's Proton Cancer Center will be an economic boost to the entire region, again, bringing in patients from outside the area. I'd now like to invite Oakland County Chief Executive Brooks Patterson to the podium to talk more about the regional impact of the Proton Center, and again, we'll be available for questions later. Brooks, it's all yours. Thank you.
Thanks very much, John, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. What you just witnessed was the first time I've walked in 5 years, so I feel still a little shaky, but yeah, I got a Beaumont doctor. My family calls him Dr. Easton. I call him St. Richard. But anyway, I just went through that operation about a month ago, so it's getting my strength back. Again, thank you, John, for the intro. And when we launched Medical Main Street back in 2008, we did so with a vision that we could build our reputation as a center for excellence in healthcare and start to build medical tourism, they call it, a phrase I've learned, where people will travel for excellence in healthcare. And we know that this opening of this Proton Center will bring people in from certainly around the Midwest. When John told you there's 25 in the United States, there's 36 in the whole world. So you can imagine how excited we all are to have one right here in Royal Oak in Oakland County. We think we're in a position to go head-to-head with the Mayo, with Cleveland, Johns Hopkins, this state-of-the-art equipment we have here available for all of us. Healthcare, as it turns out, is our largest economic sector. It used to be automotive. Then after the terrible days of 09 and 10, Beaumont moved into the lead with 17,000 full-time employees. So it's a big sector for us. We have over 4,300 medical businesses. That includes medical device manufacturers, pharmaceutical, and so forth. And we have 110,000 people employed across the field of healthcare here, just in Oakland County. Since Medical Main Street was kicked off back in 2008, we've been tracking every investment that comes into the county that fits within that category. We've brought in 56 new Medical Main Street successes. They've invested $0.1 billion, created 6,100 new jobs, and are responsible for holding on to at least 3,000 other jobs. Beaumont Health has been a leader, and as I said a moment ago, obviously the fact that you're now the largest health system, and I believe in the state, but certainly in Oakland County with 17,000. Beaumont, in one fell swoop, has put Medical Main Street on the map with this Proton Center. And medical tourism will be the benefit of that going forward. William Beaumont also put us on the map when they teamed up with OU, and we built the first medical school in 60-some years up at Oakland University, the Oakland University William Beaumont School of Medicine, which is doing great work. I said a moment ago, there's only 36 Proton centers like this in the entire world. When the Proton Center was in the planning stages, I think we had an inkling of what it would mean to actually land one here. And so we immediately volunteered to help go to Lansing, get the certificate of need. You have to have those certificates to move forward with something like this. And we think that our efforts, and all of you who were introduced before, being supporters of proton therapy, could recognize the benefits to all of us. I consider the Beaumont Proton Therapy Center so important that I made it the centerpiece of my State of the County address I give every year. And I spent 40 minutes speaking, but 20 of it was about the Proton Center, much to the chagrin of the other hospitals that weren't mentioned. Yeah. Following my speech, I appeared on Channel 7, again talking about the Proton Center that was at that point in time under construction. And watching that segment of Spotlight on the News was a gentleman from up around, is it Elsie, Michigan? And I'm not going to introduce him, I don't want to steal his thunder. But he was mentioned by John Fox as the first patient here, and he's undergoing treatment as we speak. And I don't want to tell his story, but he obviously he's telling me it's he's looking forward to the results of his we got about a month therapy. Good for you. Remember when I said earlier that the purpose of Medical Main Street was to begin to assemble the assets that we have, these 4,300 businesses, and once the Medical Main Street is a marketing association, if you will. We want people to know what we've got here. And this is certainly the crown jewel now. So I want to thank Beaumont, its staff, and all of you for the vision that you all had in order to invest and build this Proton Center. It's because of your leadership, and certainly the staff here at Beaumont Health, that I think Medical Main Street has truly arrived. So I want to thank you. Now, I understand, Dr. Stevens, you're next on the hit parade, and we'll give you more details on the center itself. Greg?
Thank you very much, and thank you all for coming today. I'm really privileged to be standing here before you today. This Proton Center is truly a state-of-the-art system, and it's very exciting. But why does this matter to our patients? Well, imagine if we could give curative doses of radiation to a tumor, to a patient, and at the same time spare 30%, 50%, or 90% as much dose that goes to normal tissues. We can give dramatically lower doses and thereby dramatically reduce toxicities for patients. This is a huge advantage for a number of different sorts of patient classes, and we'll be talking about that in just a couple of minutes. But that makes it, for some patients, fundamentally better over the long run because they'll have many, many fewer side effects. For some patients that have trouble with local tumor control, we'll actually be able to provide more dose to radiation at the same toxicity that they would get with X-rays. We may be able to provide 2 or even 3 times more radiation dose to a single area. It'll also give us the opportunity to salvage patients whose tumors have recurred locally, so that in the past we could never go back and re-irradiate, but now we'll be able to go back and potentially retreat those same areas because the normal tissue doses are so much less. This is going to allow us to cure some people that would otherwise die. Not everybody, but enough people to make this center really important for the people of Michigan. This will replace a small number of indications for radiation therapy. This is not a replacement for X-rays or brachytherapy or other things that we do. It's another tool in the armamentarium that's been developed here at Beaumont to give outstanding care every day. We've historically led development in a number of areas in radiation oncology. Almost every radiation machine that does external radiation today has a cone beam CT, a scanner that's actually built into the radiation machine to make sure that you know where the cancer is before you turn the beam on. That technology was pioneered here at Beaumont Hospital almost 20 years ago now. So this is another step in a long process of development of high quality, high technology radiation therapy right here in Oakland County. So what's so special about the technology that we have here? Well, there's a couple of things that make this center really unique that I want to talk about. First, let's talk about the treatment beam. What we have is a machine that is, it's called pencil beam scanning. And if you've ever seen a Seurat painting where there's little dots of color that make up a picture, that's exactly the way that we're able to deliver radiation therapy. Spot by spot, and we actually have the smallest spot size in the world. It's about 2 millimeters across. This scans back and forth over patients, delivering radiation dose with tremendous precision. The big advantage to protons is, unlike X-rays that go all the way through a patient, Protons go in and they stop. So there's 0 exit dose. It's not a little exit dose, it's 0. And again, that allows us to paint the radiation dose where the cancer is and systematically avoid the normal tissues. Well, when you have a really sharp knife like that, what you really need also is very precise imaging. We have the advantage of 3 different types of imaging built into the system. In fact, we have that same cone beam CT technology, which will be going live in about a month, where we'll be able to image patients in 3 dimensions, actually 4 dimensions. We'll actually be able to watch tumors move. When patients' tumors move with breathing, I'm personally a very big fan of breathing, but if it moves a tumor outside the field, that's a bad thing. We'll be able to account for that in our treatment plans and make sure that the patient's tumor stays in the middle of the high dose region every day. What that allows us to do is further shrink our margins. If we know exactly where the cancer is every day, we don't have to put so much extra dose into the patient to make sure the cancer gets treated. So again, the same dose of radiation with less dose to normal tissues, or even more dose to the tumor with the same dose to normal tissues. So very, very advantageous. On top of that, we have the brand new compact cyclotron, serial number 2. Very exciting. And it has saved us a huge amount of money in terms of shielding costs and saves us about $1 million a year in power consumption. So it's that much more economic to operate. So again, very important. So really, this is the most advanced proton therapy center in the world today. It's very, very exciting that it's right here in Southeast Michigan. So how many patients are we going to be able to treat with this kind of technology? It's a single room gantry. So this will treat somewhere between 300 and 500 patients a year, depending on the level of complexity and how much time it takes to treat patients. So it's not a huge number of patients, but for those patients, over the number of decades that this center will be operating, it will have a huge impact on the lives of patients in this region. One other thing that's different about protons relative to X-ray treatments is the way the machine is commissioned. So with a standard X-ray machine, as soon as the machine is ready to be handed over to the clinic, it's ready to treat everything. It's not so for protons. With protons, every site that we treat needs to be specially commissioned. We started with brain tumors, and because those allow us to be very precise, but we will quickly be rolling it out to other sites. Head and neck tumors, left-sided breast cancers. So imagine patients having 0 chance of cardiac toxicity from radiation therapy, from breast-sparing radiotherapy. The chance for cardiac toxicity will be 0 because the heart dose will be 0. We have technology that's been developed here at Beaumont, the ABC technology to assist breath holds, which also dramatically reduces the dose to the heart, but it's not 0. Proton therapy, the dose will be 0. So late cardiac toxicities, 0. So it's a good thing. So head and neck cancers, imagine being able to treat some head and neck cancers where they don't even get a sore throat with radiation therapy. These are patients that historically have had burns on their necks, trouble swallowing, and chronic dry mouth. That will all be dramatically reduced with this technology, which should be rolled out for head and neck tumors sometime in October, November. We're also ready to treat pediatric patients. We're ready to treat brain tumors today, and we're going to be rolling out the treatment for pediatric cancers as each site comes online. Pediatric patients are those that probably have the potential to benefit the most because they have the longest chance to have a late toxicity. So the peak incidence of second cancers after radiation is actually at 30 years. So that's a problem for somebody who's 6. And so the ability of this treatment to be able to treat young patients and have them survive with a much lower risk of second cancers, a much lower risk of dry mouth and other toxicities, should allow them to have a much better quality of life and over their lifespan actually reduce the cost of care. Much as we've pioneered other sorts of shortened courses of radiation therapy here at Beaumont, this center will also allow us to potentially give fewer fractions, because we'll be able to give bigger doses per treatment. And so again, over time, the cost of care, the number of treatments, the amount of inconvenience to our patients will fall. And that's something that Beaumont has pioneered over the years. We've reduced breast cancer treatments by 50% through research and development that was pioneered here at Beaumont. So this is, again, another tool in our very, very large arsenal of therapeutic options for patients here at Beaumont. So I'd also like to thank those people that have been so critical to the building of this center. First, let me say that I can never individually thank all the people that have been involved in this project, which started more than 10 years ago. Thousands of people have touched this project and added a piece of themselves to the care of every one of our patients. However, a few people deserve special thanks. John Fox, Carolyn Wilson, Dr. David Wood, Rosanna Morris, Dr. Les Roche, Tom Lanny, Patrick O'Donovan from Beaumont Health. They shepherded this project through to completion. The builders, Jared Kaplodowski, Tom Roth, and Casco Construction. The equipment manufacturer, IBA. Without you all, we wouldn't have a great machine to be able to treat our patients with. And especially Beth Klein and Rita Gables. Charles Yu from Proton International, who helped us to put together a lot of the processes that are involved in this center today, allowing us to build on the operational experience of other centers around the world. You can't treat patients without great radiation oncologists, and I'm blessed to have a tremendously great team. Dr. Peter Chen, Prakash Chinayan, Payman Kebelizadeh, and John Robertson all have made critical contributions to getting this center up and running at the level that it is today. Dr. Leo Ding, our Chief of Physics for Protons, has been instrumental in making sure the machine works, and it does, as well as the IBA engineers. We've pushed this project tremendously. We got this machine finished sooner than everyone said we'd be able to because of collaboration and cooperation between our team and our vendors. Patricia Cardoz, my department director, has also been instrumental in making sure that we actually can have a tremendous way for our patients to access our center and to develop call systems that will facilitate our patients being able to find us. And finally, Beaumont Children's, Dr. Kate Gowans and Dr. Berman, who've been critical support and will be instrumental in our treating of pediatric patients and building our pediatric oncology here at Beaumont Health. Of course, no center is complete without its patients. And it's with great pleasure that I introduce again Mr. William Baker. Mr. Baker is actually a retired manufacturing engineer from Elsie, and he's no stranger to cancer, unfortunately. He had a colon cancer, but in 2009 he was found to have a meningioma, a brain tumor that was resected, but unfortunately, recently it came back. And in an effort to try to spare brain tissue, we thought he would be an outstanding candidate to be our first proton patient. He met with Dr. Kebelizadeh and Dr. Chinayan to discuss the process, and we were able to develop a very efficient plan. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes to treat his tumor. The beam on time is about 15 seconds. The rest of that time is actually spent setting the patient up to make sure that we treat the patient in the right spot. So we spend far more time making sure that the patient's in the right spot. The delivery itself is actually quite fast. And we would not be able to do this without Mr. Baker. So thank you all so much. Rosanna.
We're going to ask Bill and Barbara if they wouldn't mind coming to the podium. So as we've shared, on June 28th, we kind of had a little something going on here at Beaumont Royal Oak. And it was truly a privilege to sneak down here and actually shake hands with the person who is going to be our first patient to launch this center. And I made a promise to Bill, I don't know if he remembers, but I made a promise to Bill that for being our first patient, we had to do something. We had to do something special. Do you remember that, Bill?
It seems like I do.
Yeah? Okay. So, nothing too extravagant, but to fulfill our commitment to you, Bill, on that day, and to help you make the claim that you are our first. There is no other like you, and therefore there is no other shirt that reflects you are our #1 patient at Beaumont Treatment Center. Congratulations. Thank you. And as they say, every good man, right, can let you finish the rest. Dealing with cancer is all about the people that surround you when you're dealing with cancer. And Barbara, I can only imagine the strength that you bring Bill at this time, and I'm sure for many, many years prior. So this is a small token to recognize you and the support that you are bringing him and to us during this time. So let's give Barbara a huge round.